These degrees have the lowest unemployment. Hey everyone, my name is Hisham Khan and welcome to Income Over Outcome, where I give you tips for a career and financial success. The unemployment rates in this video are the most up-to-date we have for recent college graduates. They're as of July 2020, so take a second to comment right now what degree you think is going to be in the #1 spot. Now I'm not here to waste your time, so let's get right into what you came here for. At number 11 we have mechanical engineering degrees. If you watch my video where I ranked engineering majors, then you know that mechanical is one of the best because it's so versatile. Unlike majors like aerospace engineering that box you into one specific area, the versatility of a mechanical engineering degree is really valuable in tough job markets because it prepares you to get basically any engineering job. The unemployment rate for mechanical engineers is 3.7%, and that's pretty good considering that as of September 2020, the average unemployment rate for recent college graduates is over 9%. That's worse than it's ever been, even worse than the 2008 financial crisis. But unemployment isn't the only thing we should be looking at. Underemployment is also super important, and that tells us the percent of people who have a job but aren't really using the degree they got for that job. After all, if you graduate with a mechanical engineering degree but you get a job at McDonald's, it doesn't really count. So the underemployment rate is a really good way to tell if the skills you learn from your degree are valuable in the job market. The underemployment rate for mechanical engineers is 21%. Now that might sound high, but it's way lower than the average of 43%. Think about that. Almost half of all college graduates are working a job they don't even use their degree for. That's why it's more important now than ever before to get a degree that gives you skills that are in demand in the job market. Trust me, you don't want to be paying for a degree you're not going to use. That's why the whole goal of my channel is to help you figure out what careers are worth it. In 10th place is another engineering degree, electrical. Just like with mechanical, the skills you learn with an electrical engineering degree can be used pretty much anywhere. I mean, think about it. So many things involve electronics, from cars to renewable energy, and of course the tech world. The key is to choose a major that gives you skills that are practical in the real world, but are also broad enough to get you a bunch of different types of jobs. That could mean you're a good fit for a few specific roles across a bunch of different industries, like engineering allows you to be. Or you could be a good fit for a bunch of different types of jobs in one industry, like my major in health information management allows me to be. Either way, it's versatility that puts you in a good position to get jobs as soon as you graduate. The unemployment rate for recent electrical engineer grads is 3.3%, with the same underemployment rate as mechanical engineers at 21%. So overall, electrical engineering remains to be a solid major. Now, if you don't have that notification bell on yet, go ahead and click it because I've already talked about a lot of the degrees in this video in the past. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you don't want to miss any of my videos. And if you found any of this video helpful, do me a solid and hit that like button and drop a comment letting me know what you enjoyed. That'll help us defeat the YouTube algorithm together. Now let's get right back into it. At number 9, we have business analytics. This is actually one of my personal favorite degrees. If I didn't major in health information management, I probably would have chose business analytics, and that's mainly because of the importance of data, which I've talked a lot about in my recent videos. Business analytics basically teaches you how to use data and make it easy for other people to understand, so it plays a key role in guiding a company's decisions. Now let me break it down for you. This is a completely hypothetical situation. Let's say there's this random energy drink company and they see they're spending way too much money. They could have a person in their analytics department drill down into their finances and figure out exactly where they're spending that money. The analyst might figure out that they're spending millions of dollars to have influencers market their drinks on TikTok, but the money they're spending isn't bringing enough money in. Well, now the company knows exactly where they need to cut their spending to start making money. And because things like this happen all the time in the business world, business analytics majors are super important. It might sound really complicated to do, but honestly, it's not that bad. If you like business and solving problems, then you might want to look into business analytics, especially since the skills you learn are valuable in basically any industry. Their unemployment rate right now is just 2.9%. And I'll admit, the underemployment rate isn't that great. It's higher than all of the other degrees on this list at 38%, but that's still well below average. And business analytics is a great major for the future because growth is much faster than average. Now this is the most interesting degree on this list, construction services. These majors train you to manage construction teams. One of my friends has a construction management degree and he absolutely loves it. But the reason I say this is interesting is because in 2019, the unemployment rate for construction services was 6.2%, and that was when the economy was doing really well. That high unemployment rate was mainly because you need real-life experience to work in construction management, which obviously fresh college grads don't have. So you might not think it's a great option, but let me explain why exactly it's not that bad. It turns out construction has been absolutely booming in 2020, adding hundreds of thousands of new jobs, which is perfect for new grads. Now, if you choose a construction management major, you still have to be really calculated with how you go about it, because some sectors of the industry are still struggling. With that said, the overall unemployment rate for recent grads is just 2.7%, and that's because of the recent boom in the industry. But the key to getting a job right after you graduate are internships. The reason my friend has been successful in the industry is because he's had 2 years of internships. That allowed him to gain the experience he needed before he even graduated. And that's really the key to getting a job in any industry. A lot of people are confused as to why entry-level jobs require work experience, but the truth is, your degree is the bare minimum. Companies want to know that you can perform in a workplace, not just do well in school. So think about it. If you have just 2 solid internships in college, then you make yourself a much better candidate. So if you're calculated, you can get a job in construction management right after you graduate. And it's a pretty good industry to go into, with growth that's faster than average and a high median salary of $95,000. The underemployment rate is also not too shabby for this economy, at 29%. In 7th place is computer engineering. Almost everything computer engineers do can be done remotely, which is obviously a huge advantage in today's world. And no matter what state the economy is in, tech isn't going anywhere, because we're all so dependent on it, and tech companies have a whole lot of cash. Just look at how well tech companies have done this year, while everyone else is struggling. They've basically carried the stock market. I also talked about computer engineering in my video on engineering degrees, so if you want to know more about computer engineering, salaries and things like that, then check out the video. The unemployment rate for recent computer engineering grads is 2.5%, with an underemployment rate of 21%. It's really interesting to me that all these engineering majors have similar unemployment rates. I'm not sure why exactly that is, but let me know if you have any thoughts. At number 6, we have accounting, which I totally expected to be on here because it ranked really high in my video on the best business degrees. If you watch that video, then you know accounting is similar to mechanical engineering in that it's extremely versatile. Not only can you get traditional accounting jobs, but also finance jobs on Wall Street, and even regular business operations jobs. Like I said earlier, that's beneficial in bad economies, because if one area starts going down, then you have other areas your degree is still useful in. Another huge plus is that every single industry needs accountants, so it doesn't matter if the travel industry starts firing everyone. As an accountant, you can easily switch over to another industry. That's why the unemployment rate for accounting majors is really low, at 2.4%, and the underemployment rate is 24%. Holding the number 5 spot is pharmacy. Now obviously these graduates don't just have a bachelor's degree, but a PharmD. Recent pharmacy grads have an unemployment rate of just 2%, with an underemployment rate of 26%. But hold on before you rush to get a pharmacy degree. It's probably not the best idea. Unemployment for pharmacists is so low because they've been essential in getting people exactly what they need over the last few months. But the fact is that pharmacy is in a huge bubble. According to a study done by the group that accredits pharmacy schools, around 30,000 pharmacy students graduated in 2019. Now if you want to check the full study out, I'll link it in the description. But if you look at reports from the Department of Labor, the pharmacy industry is actually shrinking. Unless the industry starts growing again, we're eventually going to get to the point where there's way too many grads and not enough jobs available. And we might already be at that point, which makes pharmacy a really bad degree to get for the future, even though grads right now are doing fairly well. Now we're getting into the super desirable degrees. The next 4 all have unemployment rates under 2%. Up next we have special education. Now special education has been impacted heavily over the last few months. Over the spring and summer, a bunch of students missed out on special education services they were entitled to. So in a lot of places, schools have to compensate students for special education services that were missed. And in some cases, that means they have to deliver extra services. This has been pretty good for people who recently graduated with a special education degree, because schools need them, so they have an unemployment rate of just 1.9%, and the lowest underemployment rate out of any of the other degrees on this list, at 11.2%. In 3rd place is nursing. A lot of you might have guessed that this would be the number 1 degree, and it's pretty close. The unemployment rate for nursing graduates is super low at 1.8%, with an underemployment rate of 12.1%. Obviously, nurses have absolutely carried the world on their backs over the last few months, but even thinking beyond that, nursing is one of the best degrees out there. Like I talked about in my last video, nursing is one of the fastest growing careers, so you're always going to have a job. Plus they don't have to go to med school, so they're not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt like doctors are. Coming in really tight at number 2 are elementary education majors. Now job growth for teachers is just about average, but we need teachers now more than ever before. The amount of students is quickly growing, and we've seen record numbers of teachers quit their jobs because of how hard it's become over the last few months. So there's this huge gap between the number of teachers needed and the number of teachers we have, which is why recent education grads have some of the lowest unemployment rates at 1.7% and a 15.4% underemployment rate. And finally, in the number 1 spot, we have yet another engineering degree, civil engineering. Like with the other engineering degrees, civil is pretty versatile, but with the construction industry rebounding like I talked about earlier, civil engineers have a slight edge. They have the lowest unemployment rate by far at 1.5% and the lowest underemployment rate out of any of the other engineering majors at 19.2%. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and click here to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out one of these videos. Until next time, peace.